All right, we're back at it again with another episode, and today we have a recommendation from Taylor Foltz that came on not too long ago. This is Seaton Sheldon of RockBox Fitness in Bowling Green. My man, how are you doing today?
I'm good. So beyond pumped to be here. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me
man.
on.
I appreciate you making the time in your busy schedule. I'd kind of like to maybe pick up on just a little elevator pitch on who you are, what you do, why you do what you do. I have some intentional questions coming, but
Okay.
just catch up people up to speed on kind of what we be talking about here.
All righty. Yeah. Basically, I mean, I could start from the beginning. Don't want to get too caught up in the childhood stuff, but grew up in a Christian family, big family, the type that you had to fight for the floor every conversation. Very entrepreneurial minded parents. That went into business early on as well. And then basically, my next chapter looked like sports, a lot of sports, and carried that identity for probably a little too long. But that's all right. And then was right after college, told myself I didn't want to be in this town, which is so ironic because I know I'm back, but I didn't want to be in the town that I grew up in. Since our family is so big, I caught the rap of so and so's brother or so and so's son, and I know our town's not that small anymore, but I didn't really love that narrative. I wanted to be me, I wanted to be Seaton, and to make sure I grew as Seaton. I think trying to get out of my identity of sports. I think that was the biggest thing for me, and I do have a dream one day to talk to athletes post sports. I think it's so big to control that narrative more than they actually can because overnight it stops and it's hard to retrain your mental and your thought process of what's next. So I got out of town, went up, moved up to Massachusetts, lived in multiple spots of the world, but right as far as career wise, moved to Massachusetts. Oddly enough, I took care of two beautiful children when I was there. Just kind of a fun job for me that got me into some property management. Also dove into some medical sales while I was there. Some personal training. I did, just kind of odd end things, and then when it came to careers, I fell so in love with medical sales. And the reason why is because I got to learn about people's lives. I got to meet them where they were. The one-on-one client I really, really enjoyed. So I was trying to think of, fitness background, athletic background on top of, investing in people's lives. Next thing you know, obviously, the world shut down in 2020, which is kind of where my, career was shifting. And I just sat down and studied and researched and wanted to know what was going to best fit me. And one of my favorite things to go by is, I think, is people are always worried about what's going to happen or what the next is, and people that all that what they need to know is they just need to take the next step. They don't really have to go, like, you're not picking something that you're going to do the rest of your life. I think that's the beauty of this life. You can do something different tomorrow if you wanted to. If you really wanted to, you can make a way and find a way to do something. So just doing something that was the next step, whether it be a stepping stone, whether it be a career. I dove into the whole boxing world. I love to box. I love that boxing became very popular. I think the benefits of it on top of functional fitness. And that's kind of, we can dive into RockBox in a minute, but fell in love with the product one, fell in love with the people second. My corporate company, I bought into a franchise just because I was young. I opened at 24. I made some good money in medical sales to be able to dive into a franchise. And not going to sit here and say I knew it all. It's one of those things. I needed the template. I needed some good mentors around me, which I feel like I do. But franchising was just my in, I think, is what I'm saying. It's not my forever. It was just my next, and I get to change some lives along the way. So we've built up a studio here in Bowling Green that I don't believe our town seen much like it, which I'm, applaud myself for, my team for. Wouldn't be anything without them. But I think, and we can dive into health and all that stuff too, but I really just am trying to repaint pictures of how people look at health. I think that is our number one thing in the South. I think, it's beans and cornbread, and for our town, a ton of fast food. We have the most fast food chain restaurants per capita in the entire country. We have one road that is fast food. You couldn't name a fast food restaurant that we don't have. Like it's sickening. And to think, and I don't want to get too off topic here, but that is my competition. It really isn't. The gym across the street is not my competition. It's the people that are, going through a drive-through 3 times a day, spending $17-18 on combos and putting junk in their body. So that's the way I look at it. Anyway, that's how I got to this point. A lot of details in between those lines, but for the most part, I came back home because I learned that life is, a lot better when you're around people that care about you and love you. I really do believe that. So it wasn't really at that point a destination for me, even though I did want to live on a beach and do some things like that. It was who I wanted to do life with, who knew me for who I was, and who wasn't going anywhere. Right. And my family, I've got some tight friends here that are awesome, and now an awesome community that keeps me grounded. So big time stuff.
Dude, a heck of an overview. Let me pull you back to pre-franchise, right?
Okay.
How did you end up at junior college in Illinois? Why Illinois of all places to play ball?
Well, so I mean, I don't want to, it's like one of those things, you don't want to toot your own horn, but you also want to know what,
No, dude, time out. Stop. You're here on a podcast to have a conversation about you, your journey, what you bring to the world, the value that you have, the value that you ascribe to different things in your life. You are literally here to toot your horn. So
love it.
Let's chat.
That's exactly what I would tell my employees too. If anybody, you sell yourself every single day, and but I just want to know that I come from a good spot when I say all this. It's I worked my tail off. I was really, really good at baseball. And my senior year, I just didn't have the best year. I played incredible freshman through junior year, made some state tournament runs, all state, all region, all that stuff. Then I got to my senior year, had a little bit of a roller coaster of a season. And, it was, my goal was to go, big time, right? It's like, obviously, it's a little different when I'm 5'10" and $180. So obviously that the odds were stacked against me, but my mental and my talent, I didn't think I still thought I had it in me. So the route there was baseball scholarships are very hard to come by. They're not, I shouldn't say hard to come by. They just are limited to the amount of scholarships they can give, and so they split it up. Like, I'll give this guy 20%, this guy 30%, this guy 40%. Like, we had All-Americans on my team. I ended up transferring back here to the D1 school in town, Western. I mean, we had All-Americans on our team that were not even on full rides, right? It was just one of those things. It's a business. It really is. And I chose, I kind of told myself that I wasn't, I hated handouts, for my dad to pay for my college. I didn't really, I didn't want to accept. So it was just one of those things. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it and I could go my own route, just like I did in Massachusetts, just like I went to Illinois. And I'm telling you right now, if somebody had to ask me, and I don't know if you could ask me, I don't know if I could think of all of them, but the staples that changed your life as a person, I would say junior college by a landslide. I think, I grew up in I grew up in a home that is a lot different from others. My dad did really well for himself. And, I went from, living a life that, I mean, I couldn't explain it. It's unfathomable, to, a wooden box with 5 roommates and bunk beds with not even clean water in the middle of a field of population 3,000, and 1,500 people of the population were inmates. They were in a prison. So I went to like this one stoplight town. Yeah, believe it or not, I went small. I mean, Bowling Green's kind of big now, but went real small, and I'm telling you what, it grew me up quickly, and I loved it, and I'm thankful for it. Did I hate parts of it? Yes, but was I more disciplined for it? 100%. My coach, I own the world, Coach Bowers. He's an incredible person. You know, baseball savvy. You know, he was, but more of a life coach more than ever for sure. He broke us down and built us up. You know, with a lot of character. I'm talking if he said, 3 a.m. wake up call, we're pulling the tarp. That's what was happening. I mean, I couldn't, there's no rules in junior college either. So he got away with what he wanted. 5 a.m. we could be running, and we could be up till 1 a.m. studying. I mean, that was the life we lived. And that small area took away all distractions. I honestly, for my personality, I love to be social. I love to be around. I think anytime I'm sitting at home by myself, I'm not making money or I'm not networking, so I've always been the type to be around and which is a blessing and a curse, but it's, I think that initial university experience, my freshman year, would have been tough. It definitely would have been tough if I went to a big school just because of the amount of distractions, people have nowadays, not because I couldn't say no, because it's that much in front of your face every single step of the way. And I've got some awesome employees right now, and I don't, I'm not always for, college, but I am for 4 years of growth. I'm not saying everybody has to go to college, but those 4 years out of high school need to be some serious growing periods to get you into a career and to get you moving forward. So my first 2 years of college are that is a huge staple to me and who I am. Not that I was never a hard worker growing up. I always was. But as far as just the nitty gritty, doing the work nobody else wants to do, making sure, I'm taking out the trash, mopping the floors, wiping the toilets down. I'm never going to be afraid of that ever. So that was a big part of that. It really was. I loved it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you learned a lot, right? You got a lot of experience. You kind of had to push your head through the glass, so to speak, on a handful of things because it was different than what the norm was. What do you think the number one lesson, if you had to strip away everything else, one lesson that you took from it, what would that be?
I think there, I would have to go with just, I love the word tenacity. I think that is kind of what I learned the most out of it is just prevail, keep pushing forward. It was my first time away from home. I was by myself, I didn't have a lot of money in my pocket. It's like there was a lot of things I had to overcome, to that I was changing as a person. And let me tell you, did I want to give up every single step of the way? Yes. I'll never forget when I came home my freshman year and I was just like, I don't have to have baseball anymore. It was that bad. I got broken down that bad. I didn't even start at a junior college that I thought that I was going to, that I thought I had the bag secured. I thought I was going in there. I was starting. Next thing you know, I get there and the guy that's catching in front of me just had a tryout with the Cubs 2 weeks. And I was just like, what have I got myself into? And so, I lived in the gym. I was a gym rat. I lived in the cages, but I just had to continue to overcome. And when I never really got my shot that freshman year, I was ready to throw in the towel. Like if I can't do it at this level, what can I do? You start having a lot of that self-doubt. But thankfully with a lot of good mentors behind me, my freshman year, I mean, just to put this in perspective for you, my exit meeting when I left Lincoln Trail, we all, you sit down with your head coach before you head home for the summer, and he pulled everything from me. He said, your scholarship's gone, your books, your housing, I'm taking it all from you. You're not the same person that you walked in here as. You've gotten stiff. You've gained a little weight, which I got stiff and gained weight because I was in the gym and I wasn't as limber as I was or loose. And, for somebody that had worked on this craft their whole life, every day, for 20 years or so, whatever the time was, now I've got to go home and look at a father who invested, a lot of money into me being good at this sport and was there for me every step of the way. And one of my biggest supporters to this day. Not that he would have, given up on me at the time, but I mean, it's gut wrenching to a child, to a kid. And so I had to go home and tell him, I lost, I lost it all, it's gone. And at that point I knew it was in my hands. I tell people right now, change it if you don't do it, if you don't make the change, it's just not that important to you. Like, what's it going to make? How are you going to grab that importance? Like, when was the last time you forgot to brush your teeth? When was the last time you forgot to pick your kids up from school? You don't, right? Because it's important. And I remember for the first time in my life, I became who I needed to become because I was going after everything that I had lost. I went home those 3 months. I lost 55 pounds. I was running, 6, 7 miles every single day. I was in the gym. I was eating clean. Going, you obviously you get your first freedom, ounce of freedom in college, and you start getting, started drinking, more than I ever even drink. I didn't even drink in high school, but there's convenient. Maybe I'll do it. Nothing else to do in this one stoplight town. I stopped it all. I mean, I put myself dead in the tracks, and I was doing 2-a-days and running hills and things you couldn't, playing pickup basketball till 1, 2 in the morning. My grandma lived with us at the time. She would make me omelets every night because she would stay up till 2 a.m. and I'd walk in, and I just was so clean. I was so disciplined, and that somebody I never was. It changed me in that off season, my freshman year. Moral of the story is I go back my sophomore year. I'm batting like 345, I think, in the fall with like 12 home runs. I end up starting, getting offers from, Middle Tennessee, Indiana, WKU. Like it, and I never knew I had that in me until I got to the point where I had to just overcome, find that tenacity of, you've got to push through this. And, it's you hear it all the time. What would you say to yourself 10 years ago? You would say, it's going to be all right. You're going to see it through because of who you are. You're going to get through this. So just willing to, overcome adversity, push through, finding that inner will that I guess is the biggest thing that I didn't know I had. I had to find something deeper than me, and deeper, basically I just wanted to find myself through that. And I'm better off for it every single day. And I think about that time all the time. And I tell people about that all the time. And my employees be like, Seaton, stop living in the past. We know you lost 50 pounds in 3 months. Like, it's like, because I'm just so proud of that moment in my life. I really was. So it was a big deal for me.
Yeah. And I guess, my next question was going to be, before you answered that, why'd you go to WKU? But I guess that answers it. You got a bunch of offers and you were like, hey, it's time to go home.
I want to be the hometown hero. I want to play. I want to, I want to see my mom and dad in the stands, my grandparents, everybody that could be there to support me. Not only that, it's cheaper. If I can go home for a free meal, a couple times a week, that goes a long way in college. So that was, a lot of those played a big role, but, mainly because I knew it was at that moment. I didn't want to say I gave up on baseball, but I saw, I kind of saw where I was headed, future wise. And I knew, to this day, a bunch of my teammates are still in this town and did so well networking themselves, while they were at the university, getting in good circles, shaking some hands, and have done really well for themselves in this town, all because of what the sport brings and the people that get you in front of. So it's all good stuff. It really is. And I don't regret a single day of it. I really don't. My journey's been up and down, but I really do believe I've learned a lot through different phases of my life, for sure.
Yeah. What'd your coach have to say over at Illinois when you came back and you were down 50 pounds and you started just slugging?
The very first thing he said to me, he said, where'd the other half of you go? I'll never forget it. We get there and like, it's like boot camp. You get there and you start working on the field. It's like maintenance. All right, we're going to draw the lines. We're going to cut. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So, us being a typical guy, we're going to get a suntan too. So everybody had their shirts off, and he walked up to me. He's like, dude, I didn't even recognize you. I was like, where'd the other half of you go? And I was just like, he brought me in his office that next day, and he gave everything back to me plus some. I got food, I got an allowance, I got the bonuses because he just saw my discipline, and it paid off, and I was happy to be acknowledged for it. It really was because you don't always see yourself changing. If you look at yourself in the mirror every single day, you're like, you're still, now you start nitpicking, right? Oh, I can't get rid of this, can't get rid of that. Or, so it's really hard to see the change. Obviously I knew I was losing, but like to see a coach that, took everything from me, come back and, give it all to me plus some and congratulate me. That fulfillment, it went a long way, and I loved him for it. He taught me so much. So grateful for those times, beyond grateful.
And then when we fast forward to you going from there with that coach that gave you back what he took, and I mean, did he ever say to you that he took it because he wanted you to step up, or did he just take it because you absolutely weren't who he thought you were, or he was testing?
I 100. I mean, you could ask him, but if I had to, say 100%, he definitely took it from me because he knew who I was. Like he came and watched me play when I was in high school. He knew what I was capable of. A lot of baseball is not just data. It's a lot of IQ. It's a lot of discipline. It's a lot of forward thinking. It's a sophisticated game out there. It really is, that people don't really know about. And so he knew I checked those boxes. It was my physical and then my determination to show up early, to go the extra mile, that I just don't think he was seeing out of me. Then coming back my sophomore year, I'm telling you, if my buddy got in trouble and my coach made him run 5 miles, I would drop my gear. I would drop my gloves. I said, I'm going with him, coach. Like that's who I became. I became the leader of the team. And I think when he started seeing that side, he really, things really started to flourish. I never let anybody run alone. I don't care if they got caught partying until 3 a.m. Like I was going to be the guy. If he had to get up early, I was getting up early. Like I was meeting him at the gym. I became that teammate because I knew where they were at. I think everybody deals with their own battles differently, and I know everybody has growth, in 100 different ways. But I didn't look at those times when those guys were being punished because, what's worse than being like a physical punishment? Losing everything you got, it's and everything you've worked for 10 to 15, 20 years, I guess whatever that would have been, 18 years. So it's just like, so it was just one of those things that I became the teammate to put myself in those positions to continue to help grow everybody that was dealing with whatever they were dealing with at the time. I just wanted to be there for those people, so it wasn't just about me, it never is, and it shouldn't be, it's just not.
Yeah, fair enough. When you were playing baseball in college, was that when you already had ascribed a very high meaning to the Babe Ruth quote? It is
the Babe Ruth
the person who never gives up. Was that already 100%. in your mind at that point?
Mm-hmm. Yes, because I tell my I know me and Taylor became really close because she's in the entrepreneurship world, and she opened up a business, and we'd go back and forth, and very intelligent, and on her worst days, I'd always look at her and go, no matter what's going on, if you're present, it's better. It's always better. If something could blow up tomorrow in the studio and a fire, but if I'm there to handle it, I promise you it's going to be better. Just continue to show up every single day. You show up, things become easier. I'm not saying you're not going to have hard times, but if you try to run from the world, if you try to hide out and not deal with, certain situations head on, that it never, in my experiences, have never worked out in anybody's favor. I'm a firm believer of, having the hard conversations, dealing with the stuff that needs to be talked about. And I think that's why we've grown to have such a, great community at RockBox, is because, I'm not even trying to, it's not even a sales pitch at that point. What I'm doing is, when somebody walks in my doors, first and foremost, we've got to cradle them like a baby. The connotation on gyms are, they're already, it was a huge first step for them to take, to walk in that door, massive. So at that moment, we've got to do everything we can to meet them where they are, hang on. And then at the end of the day, you've got to talk about it. You've got to take their insecurities and put them straight on the table. And so, how can we do this together? And let them know that I'm here for you, and I'm going to ride with you every single step of the way. Because if they don't talk about their insecurities, they're never going to get over them. That's with anything, really. It's with addiction. It's with literally, if you're not talking about it, if you're not getting it out there and telling people your story, or telling something, then you're never going to, you're not going to have that physical change. So I'm a firm believer in, and if somebody wants to make that change in my, my community, in my gym, your insecurities are going to be on the table day one. That we're going to talk about them. And if we don't talk about that stuff, it goes back to what I said earlier. It's those are the stuff that's the stuff that's important to people. Now, if I can get that, it's not, hey, I want to be able to take my shirt off around the pool. No, it's who are you trying to impress at the pool? Who are you thinking is judging you? Who is thinking that, that is altering your mindset? Who is that? And how, just keep diving deeper. Oh, it's this, and they usually have a story for you, but you just want to continue to peel back that layer of who they are and get to that core, because I know I did at such an early age. I had that true change, and it took a lot of digging and digging and digging before I made real change. And unfortunately, you've got to throw some stuff in their face to make it real. You've got to look at them and go, okay, why do you want this for yourself? Because if you're not, does it run in your family? Where's your dad headed? Where's your mom headed? Do you want to be next? That's the truth of the story, because Western medicine can keep you alive till you're 85, and they can start taking limbs, they can start doing anything, but if they can give you hope and give you a chance, most people do take that route, unfortunately. But if we never had to get there, if we could do preventive healthcare, I'm huge in preventive stuff. You see it all over the country, you see it on the TV, you see it everywhere. That if you can take care of your body on the front end, take care of a lot of this stuff on the front end, life becomes easier in the long run, 100%. So that's where I'm at with that. Preventive, 100, like all in, make real change. You've got to dig deep, because it's easy to work out for a couple of weeks. It's easy to work out for even 6 months, but a lifetime, something's got to sting. Something's got to stick out to you on why you're getting up every single morning, or why you're doing this every single day and not missing, because you are going to make sacrifices and a bunch of other stuff. But don't want to get on too big of a rant of a diet.
No. I mean, that's exactly what we're here for. I mean, it's not, hey, I want to be 15 pounds down. It's, hey, I want to be 15 pounds down so that I have the confidence to take my shirt off because my wife hasn't looked at me the same in 20 years, right? It's 3 or more layers, right? We're talking about, oh, I used to get made fun of because I was a chubby kid, or I used to be the skinny guy that couldn't defend myself. And I want to be in a position where I have confidence, where I don't think I need to go to here. I actually have enough confidence to let it go and keep it moving. There's 100%. Way deeper things going on here than just, hey, Seaton's got a gym and we just want to make some money and have some people have some fun in the gym. Like that's cool, right? And that's part of it, right? But that's not the end all be all, because I think just as well as I do, you can make a whole lot more money doing a whole lot less in a lot of different industries that didn't have as much impact.
So many. And we're boutique fitness, so we are on the latter end of being more expensive. And I look at my employees all the time. We're like, Joel Pods is $1 billion company. Why can't we be? Like, it's like, guess how much more life you can provide with them coming in here and moving their body every day, instead of them going and buying I don't know what those things cost, like $49 for those Mr. Frogs or whatever nowadays. I'm like, people do that? Like, it's so insane. If the alcohol industry and tobacco industry and all this stuff that literally is killing McDonald's, like literally, I don't want to call anybody out, but like fast food is killing you. Why can't we? Why can't we be the ones on the other end of this? Why can't we be, because because people are spending their money. They're spending it, and the fact that they'll come to me and be like, you're too expensive compared to what? The more you pay, the more you pay attention. 100%. It is the number one. I mean, it's so if your body's not an investment to you, when was the last time somebody went to the gym and spent $10 a month? Maybe twice a month. Maybe. Are they even knowing what they're doing at that point? Are they burning maximum calories? No, they're not. What they're doing is they're spiking their metabolism. They're speeding themselves up. Then guess what? They go home and they get hungry and they eat a whole bunch of food, and then they don't work out again. So guess what? They actually went backwards. It's like it's you can actually hurt yourself by working out just once or twice a month. You really can. Like it's bad. But my biggest thing is just changing that connotation of, one, you don't have to step in here and work out to exhaustion. Nobody's asking you to come in here and get a headache or pass out because that's just not what it's about. The healthiest people in the world, they're called biohackers. They work out 3 times a week just to put their muscles through physical stress. Because if their muscles don't get physical stress, their muscles will go dormant. If their muscles go dormant, their bones become weak. If your bones become weak, you become frail as a person, and your body literally will start to decay. You will grow old faster than anything. I mean, I can dive into all the autophagy and fasting and working out and all that fun stuff, but it's literally some of the only ways to reverse, getting older is through working out, is through fasting, is through, a lot of things like that. So, just because, I mean, I believe that the diet is very important and all that stuff, but just for the mental note of walking in our doors is come enjoy yourself. How many hours do you give to your work a week? 40, 50? What's a side job? Another 5, 10? What's the family? I mean, I understand the family, but you don't have your family if you don't have your health. You can't give me 3 to 4 hours a week. It's silly to me, it's really, it really is. And then, my pitch on being too expensive compared to what, if I was driving a 1985 old Ford pickup out here and I back up and I hit a light pole and I get out and look at it, I'm like, dang, that sucks. Drive away. Right. Don't really care. If I just bought a brand new Ferrari, obviously I can't afford one, but if I just bought a brand new Ferrari and I backed into a light pole, I'd be sick. I'd be sick to my stomach. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know, what I'm going to do. How am I going to fix this? Where do I take it? That's how you should, approach your body. If it's an investment to you, guess what? You're probably not going to miss the gym. You're probably going to, eat a little cleaner. You're probably not going to eat fast food because you want money to go to the gym. Everything goes full circle. It really does. And like I said, you do not have anything in your life without your health. You have nothing. You have literally nothing. And I got to witness that firsthand early on in my life. My brother got bedridden with Lyme disease and went undiagnosed for about 2 years and had a lot of trust issues with I support the medical field and doctors and all that stuff, but had a very hard time trusting the people he looked up to his whole life, right? You go to the doctor and you just kind of almost expect them to get you healthier. You really do. But the truth of the matter is, they're, when they walk out of that room, they're looking at other doctors like, hey, what do you think he's got? What do you think of this? Because guess what? There's a million different things your body can do and react to a million different ways. So yes, doctors are incredibly smart and I appreciate every single one of them, but I never personally want to ever put myself in somebody else's hands. Like, why would I ever want to go to a hospital and go? I know there's a lot to go into this, but some things you can't help. I understand. But it's, if I could just be preventative, just do the work on the front end. So I'm not catching myself, in a hospital bed, putting my life in somebody else's hands. I'd rather take control right now. And multiple other reasons why I work out, but I'm a competitive guy. Every day you work out, you get 10% extra oxygen to your brain. Your body is, you think clear. I'm taking 10% over my competition any day of the week. It's a lot of little things like that is why I work out. But I think people need to stop looking at the scale. I think your weight and your looks, I'm not the weight, your looks are the byproduct of being healthy. Not everybody's going to have a six pack. If we all ate the same thing every single day, like if I got 100 people and we all eat the same thing every single day for the next 6 months, we'd all be different sizes. And that's the truth. They just, people have to collect data on themselves. They have to learn their bodies. They have to learn what they can digest, what they can't, what's giving them energy, what's not giving them. Everybody's different. That's why I have consultations. That's why I have sit downs with people, because I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, here's a diet. This is exactly how it works. It's a plug and play. You do this, you're going to lose weight. No, we're going to dive into it and we're going to learn you. And I want you to learn you. And we're going to figure out what works, trial and error, and we're not going to go, flip a switch overnight. We're just not. The average person starts 9 diets a year. Why is that? Because come Monday, I'm going keto. Come Monday, I'm going vegan. Come Monday, I'm going carnivore. Guess what? Food is an addiction. It's like you can't just physically stop. Like so I'm a team believer of the snowball effect of making smarter choices. Make a smarter choice every step of the way. Know that your favorite food's always going to be there. Your favorite dessert's always going to be there. Your favorite fast food place. Not that I'm sitting here recommend it, but it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So if you had a choice to make tonight for dinner and you're passing, let's just say you're passing, I don't know, Penn Station or something, I don't know, and you were having this ultimate craving of it. You love it. All you got to do is pass it and get home. You get home and just be like, hey, you know what? I'll just grab that tomorrow for lunch. You can literally tell yourself, I'll grab it tomorrow for lunch. I just won't eat it tonight. And then when we get to lunch tomorrow, maybe we make a better decision then as well. But like, you just don't have to act like you have to have like the instant stuff is hurting us because it's almost like we eat things like they're going out of business. Now, I promise you, Penn Station ain't going out of business anytime soon. They're going to sit right on Main or wherever we're at, and they're going to be there for the next 10 years. You don't have to eat it tonight. You can wait until tomorrow. And just continue to stack good days on top of good days. Build that momentum up until you start cutting everything out of your life. You're cutting, processed foods and carbs and all, as much as you can. And obviously that everybody's different, but for the most part, you can make better decisions, and you can build up some momentum to really, really understand, who you can be. And people need to understand it's not going to happen overnight. Instant gratification is killing gyms because they're wanting something the next day because Amazon gives it to you. It's that we're used to it. But it's a process. It's a journey. Fall in love with the journey. You got to have the journey.
I mean, with all of that, I mean, you're talking about being in boutique fitness and your competition being fast food and your competition being the couch and your competition being inaction overall is what I'm hearing. Is that?
Yeah, static lifestyles, all that stuff. I mean, it's
so, I mean, with all of that, I guess I'm curious, how are you combating that outside of just fitness, right? Because as a coach and trainer and an online coach myself, I mean, I think that it's more than just fitness. It's more than just sweating. It's more than just hitting a bag. It's more than just floor work and standing work and community. Like, how do you over at RockBox tackle, right, the multi-prong approach here of someone's health?
I think there's a mixture of a bunch. Obviously, the beginning of the reason why you're doing it, why you're making a true change. I think that trumps everything, no matter what you're doing. You could go into anything. I think on top of that is accountability. I think speak it, say it out loud, just like we were talking about it earlier. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your spouse, tell your, because at that point, you're holding yourself accountable through different ways. Do you like, who do you not like letting down in your life? Like, who do you, tell them to your face, hey, I'm making a change. I am pledging to you that and then, that, 10-minute conversation with a best friend or something like that could change the outlook of your next 90 days. It really could, all because you looked at somebody you cared about and you told them, I'm going to do this for you, or I'm going to do this for, don't say for you, but everything, you got to do it for yourself. But, it just helps with the accountability piece if you do, tell somebody else. Because at that point, you almost feel, a little bit obligated to start. And then that is we attack the start completely differently. Like I said, nothing's all or nothing. It never works. It just, data shows the all or nothing approach, which I catch myself doing all the time. Just because I just feel like I go back to that summer that I lost all that weight. I was all or nothing. I was all in. And I think the number one thing here to get to my point is people need to stop justifying how they're approaching health. I think and another thing that goes into that is it's the nutrition side. First and foremost, you don't eat anything on accident. That's one of my favorite nutrition quotes. Anything you put in your body, you're doing it. You're doing it to yourself, not to yourself, but you're either fueling or you're either going forward or going backwards with whatever you're putting in your body. Changing the mindset of eating out as entertainment. It's not what we're doing on a Tuesday. Changing the mindset of I can't, just because my job's intensive labor, it doesn't matter. Those are literally considered everyday activities in the doctor world. It really is. Like, you have to go outside of your way to give an hour to your health every single day. I don't care if that's sitting down and just drinking water. I don't care if that's stretching. You need to just designate that time to better yourself, meditating, there's yoga. I mean, there's tons of different ways that you can push this, needle forward. But, the overall picture of people thinking that they've just got to, kill their bodies every single day. They can't have another carb in their life. They, all, like, the stuff that they get scared of, it's not really true. It's really not. We can approach this and get results so many different ways, and ways that they will enjoy it. And then, so basically, stop justifying things in your head. Stop saying, if I eat this, I'll do this, or I'll do this and I can do that. No, that's not how life works. It's just not it. Yes, I love, the cause and effect approach of a lot of things. And it's so true in a lot of things, but justifying really hurts us. It really does. Because you can talk yourself in and out of almost anything. It's like, if you're going to eat a bad meal, you'll be like, oh, I'll go on a 20-minute walk after, or I'll make sure I get up and go to the gym at 5 a.m. because I ate so many carbs tonight. Just don't do that. Just understand that this food is bad for you. And if you're going to eat it, that's okay. If that's what you want to do at this moment right now, eat the food, be okay with it, live with it. Don't beat yourself up over it. One, don't go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just had this bad food. People, that's how, bulimic and all that stuff starts. Like, don't guilt yourself into what you're doing is overly bad. Like, you're just freaking yourself out, which we see all the time. So then people get just depressed and they give up. Oh, I've messed it up already, or I did this, or I did that. Worry about making the small decisions all day long. I think that is kind of, what I tell people, and stop justifying things in their head, because it just doesn't work. Change the mindset totally. Change, to where I'm either going to eat this bad food, I'm going to eat this good food, I'm either going to go work out or I'm not. Don't, if you're saying to yourself, this and that, like if you're saying to myself, oh, I worked out twice today, now I can go smack a large pizza. No, it just like that. It's because, and I guess you could use justifying to your advantage, but I'm just telling you from my personal experiences and what I deal with, people justify things in the wrong ways way more, like 10 to 1. It's not even close. So I just think the outlook on health, they've just got to change. It's a day by day, small decisions. Stack good days on top of good days, start cutting out, little by little, just make a better choice. That's it. I don't care if, don't feel like if you go out to eat for a birthday party that you can't eat, or you've got to order the salad, even though that doesn't make sense either. But don't just make the healthier choice just that night. It's okay. If we would just do that, we would be healthier as a nation, as a whole. Just small adjustments in your daily life, and you can see true results, because static lifestyle is direct effect in obesity. It really is. Like, if you're not moving, if you're not getting out, you're not doing anything, that's tough. It's tough, and people need people. I'm a true believer in that. So, move the body, so I just kind of go through, there's not one particular thing I could say to really get somebody's whole perspective to change. It's usually me sitting down and finding those trigger points, like just finding, that, just kind of that, that little needle in the side, just like, hey, it's time, if life's going to go on. It's like, I love the Kevin Hart one. It's like, the sun's not stopping for anybody. It's going to come up, it's going to rise, and it's going to, set every single day. And you're either going forward or you're going backwards. And, people that keep saying come Monday, or oh, if I can just get to this weight before I join a gym, or I could, we don't need to keep justifying things. It's like, oh, I'm going to go walk on the treadmill for 4 weeks before I join RockBox, so I can have at least a little bit of cardio shape when I join. No, why? Well, what's the real point there? Just start, just put your foot forward, and be around people that love you. And I promise you, I've got, 420 best friends. I try. I know I can't. I know my team's going to have better relationships with other people that I can't, and that's okay. It's why it takes a village. It takes a team. But somebody needs to be with you on the journey, because you find yourself isolating. You find yourself in at home all day long, doing this, doing that. And I think the root of all unhealthy habits is convenience. I think convenience kills everybody in a lot of ways. I'd probably be 10 pounds lighter, if there wasn't, DoorDash, I feel like, come on, like, if I can get up and I can have my day rolling, and I don't have to cook, and I can, get, a decently healthy breakfast to the house with a coffee, like, I'm a busy guy, like, but that was not the healthy decision. No, Seaton, wake up 30 minutes earlier, cook you some eggs, make your own black coffee, get moving. But convenience, it really, like, especially in this town, we're a very comfortable town. We don't have a ton of culture, like I mentioned earlier, and it's don't fall into that comfortable world, because it's a slippery slope when you do. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like I'm getting a little bit more of an understanding of kind of your methodology around how you deal with convenience, how you deal with nutrition with clients, how you deal with consultations. I guess, that's all wonderful information. There's a few things that I want to kind of unpack there. A couple times you said good food or good meal versus bad meal. How are you defining those?
I think that's a very tricky question, just because the studies I read now, that even organic foods got, is steroid injected to some extent. But if you just look at, black and white, I mean, it goes back to kind of what I was, talking about with learning your body. I think if dairy is going to make you constipated for the next 3 days, or carbs are going to make you sluggish the next day. If like, I just think, especially with our digestive system, I'm a firm believer with, eating similar things over and over. 12 meals a month, it processes it the best. Because when it gets similar things, it breaks down more efficiently, all that fun stuff. So I just think when you have a set plan, and and I'm not saying you have to be, a Marine, but, when you're going through this nutrition way, I've got a lot of fun nutrition, consult, analogies, but, I think anything that kind of deviates from your goals is considered, bad. I think if you calculate one bad meal a week, or you calculate, 6, 8 ounces of alcohol a week, and that this is the plan, this is how, attack it. If you're trying to make, change, I'm not saying you have to live this massively structured lifestyle, but anything that kind of deviates from where you're trying to get to, especially in the beginning, would be considered a bad meal, just because, I love the Kobe. I love the Kobe contract, before his, when he was coming out of that injury, him and his trainer sat down and he said, this is my contract to myself. This is what I'm doing for the next 3 months, and there's now not an, it's not an option. I think that stuff is, healthy, but it doesn't have to be all the way down to the food you're eating, if that makes sense. Like I talked about earlier, have the hour every day. Have some structure in your life. Discipline is very healthy. I think, you need to be, disciplined to some extent, because that's what it takes. It really is. And so just, staying on your path, making minor adjustments all day long. Now, if I just feel like if you were to eat processed food, multiple times in a row, like I had a client text me this morning, man, I got caught at the lake, ate bad food all weekend, just stuff in my face, no exercise. I really need to make up for it this week. I'm in there at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Love it, man. Absolutely awesome. Like, why would I ever go, I can't believe you, had those bad meals. I can't believe you, I would, like, what's that going to do? I mean, it does nothing. Right. So, I love that he acknowledged it. I think that's healthy. I think, throwing it out there, telling somebody that he had a bad weekend is what it is. We're all going to have bad weekends. We're going to have bad days. We're human beings. But knowing that he's got to jump back on the train come tomorrow, because it's a slippery slope when you get into those worlds of, oh, I had one bad meal, which I would consider a bad meal, down to the food, like like, it's just not, I don't want to say it as if it's bad, ever, but like your fried foods, your loaded breads, your carbs, it's, people don't understand there's literally carbs in everything. Just because you're not eating breads and chips doesn't mean you're not getting X amount of carbs in a day. But anything that deviates from the plan, catching yourself doing something that you feel guilty about, I think I think it goes hand in hand. Obviously, I'm going to help you be the coach to help what to be, guilty about, what not to be guilty about. Because like I said earlier, you can't just beat yourself up every single day because you had a bad meal or you did something here, or you woke up 20 minutes later, you didn't get your run in, or, and I'm going to be there right beside you going, hey, don't worry about it. Let's go. We're going to keep moving. It's not a big deal. Let's go. Let's, like, all they have to do is not stop. That's, that's the ultimate goal. And I just know when you do start getting those bad meals, or you do start getting into some bad habits that you don't want to go back to, right? When you're making those small adjustments throughout your weeks, throughout your months, and you are stacking good days on top of good days, if you were to slip back into those old habits, it's my job to go, hey, let's go, get back on the train tomorrow, or get back, let's get back in here. If I'm seeing them not in the gym all week, maybe, they're eating bad at that point. It's just a slippery slope when you start making those decisions that take you backwards and not forwards. Missing the gym, a lot of fried food, a lot of bad meals. I just don't get on that slippery slope, and that's with everything. Literally, if you don't, like, so much of life is, if you catch yourself in those convenient worlds, if you catch yourself not pushing yourself to be successful, if you catch yourself, not getting out of bed in the morning, that's convenience. Like that's the root of a lot of our problems. And we have to know that life's not going to be convenient. Nothing is. It's not convenient to work 40 hours a week, is it? No. It's like, just like your health. Get it up, get after it. So, bad food is really whatever you told yourself you were going to do, especially if you're trying to start off the gate, get out of the gate strong. Those first 2 weeks are so important. Don't deviate from the plan. Stick to it the best you can. Obviously you're going to make mistakes, but it's okay. Keep moving on. That's the goal.
Yeah. It really sounds like from me to you that you hold yourself to a different level of scrutiny than you do your clients. Like, you follow a different path for how rigid you are to your own nutrition, because I've heard a couple things and some of them are conflicting. And so please correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds as though you're more on the, hey, no processed food, no excess carbs, no bread, no extra for you. But you kind of walk that back for other people. I mean, do you feel that you hold yourself to a different standard, like a more rigid, more tight standard than you do clients?
I don't. I think that's why my culture is actually is so great. Is because I'm not doing this on purpose. This is who I am. But people don't like seeing the guy walking into a gym and seeing this dude that's just stacked with a six pack, that's got his guns out this big, and then he goes in there and does an exercise. It immediately looks like they can't do it, only because he's ripped and jacked and looks bigger. It's a weird way they perceive things. But I promise you, if they were to see me, who I am not strict by any means. I like I say, I make the healthier choices. I'm making sure X, Y, and Z are getting accomplished every single day. 10,000 steps, got a gallon of water, stuff like that. I do my best. I'm not sitting here saying I'm perfect, never will be. I definitely eat out. I definitely enjoy a beer. I'm definitely not the type, and I've been around those guys, and I have a lot of them in my life. I've got, a head trainer that's 6% body fat. I've got, 4 or 5 other trainers that are just incredible people, and, they live their life a lot differently. But me, I don't. I just make the better decision. I understand what I'm doing, when I'm doing it. And I think that, I guess, if you want to put it in just the broadest terms of, just be in the know. Don't be oblivious of what's going in your body. Don't be oblivious of what's happening to your body when you're sitting down 8 hours a day. Don't just don't not think about your health, I guess, is where I'm at with it. Because I do not hold myself to a standard. Yes, I could give myself a structure, and there are weeks that I do. There will be weeks that, like, oh, Seaton, you might have put on, 5 here, 10 here. Okay, well, let's lock it in for 4 weeks. I can do that. But as far as I live my everyday life, if I had a member today ask me that they just needed to talk, I would go get dinner with them tonight. I have a schedule that's literally open for my members. If they want to get coffee, if they want to go on a walk with me, if they want to, go out to eat, I am all in, because I know that being an ear and having somebody to talk to goes way further than any workout ever will. I know that, because I know people, like I said, people are meant for people. I think love makes the world go round. It really does. And so I know that is going to go, a lot further. And my trainers know that. I've got an incredible, training staff. Had a member and been dealing with a lot of depression lately. We had a big kickball event this past Saturday, a couple hundred people. It was awesome. And, she broke down. She, just been dealing with a lot of things. I had 3 trainers show up and work out beside her this morning. Talk about powerful, talk about some serious want to change people's lives. That's what it's about. That is what it meeting people there. So no, I definitely, I've got a belly on me, man. I'm not 6 pack. I'm not macho guy. I live my life. I work out. I know that I'll probably never have a six pack. Could I get one? Yes. But do I appreciate doing life with people just as much? Yes. But I never really speak on that side because of people usually don't have a hard time with that side, right? They don't have a hard time going out and getting a drink with their friends. They don't have a hard time with going to a birthday party or going to, something. They just don't. So unfortunately, the way people's mindsets work, it's almost you have to be pretty stern on the front end, because I know even if I gave them the strictest regimen in the world, they're taking it home and they're not going to complete. They're never going to be perfect. But guess what? If they're like, if they're getting close, I'll take close all day long. I'll take 75% perfect diet all day long, any day of the week. So it's just the industry as a whole. So no, I think I get along and I think I relate to people a whole lot more because unfortunately, in my personal opinion, I do believe that a lot of fitness trainers and a lot of coaches and a lot of I don't know, studio owners, whatever, have been genetically gifted in their lifetime. They have never understood, the fact that there is a depressed eating, that there is certain things as like there's things that people deal with. And I have put myself, I've gotten, to the point where I have gained weight and I have felt like I couldn't get out of it. Like I literally had mental battles to the point where I'll never forget a business colleague of mine. And I said, I finally understand. I finally understand why people break down in my office. I finally understand why the mental block of giving up the simple, just food, is so tough. And I've had a lot of great mentors and people that have worked with me, and nutritionists and, and dietitians and all this stuff. But and they've explained it to me, but it doesn't hit home with you until you can sit at home one night and go, I don't know if I can live without that. I don't know if I can give up this fried food, because it gets that bad. I promise. Like, I know it sounds silly, but I promise you, there people deal with those struggles. They do. And, and I see trainers all the time going, I couldn't believe you got a little fat on you. Oh my gosh. Like that. I would be sick if I had that on me. Get out of town. It's the worst thing you can tell people. It's the absolute worst thing. And so many people are like that because, and I'm so glad that you asked me that, that we're going down this path, is because I ran into a guy at the gym yesterday. For the first time in my life, have I ever heard a trainer come out of his mouth and go, man, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just, I've got some really good genetics. I've been really strong from early in my life. And he told me that straight up. And I was like, dude, I applaud you for that, because that is actually understanding health. Because there is such thing. I promise you. I could dive into all the brown fat cells and fat cells that are created when you're a child. And the only way to reverse them going forward in life is, through fasting and saunas and a lot of other things. And it's all, so you've got to dive into all that stuff. You have to learn the person sitting across from you, not just physical battles, mental battles. You've got to do life with them. Unfortunately, does that hurt my growth a little bit? Probably so. Could I get as many people in this gym as I wanted to? Could I just go, hey, we're going 50% off and I try to blow this thing up? No. I could, yes, but it's just not worth it to me, because first and foremost, the business side of things is it costs 9 times more money to get a new person in the door than it does to keep an old one. So that, retention's everything. But the only thing, true retention, average lifespan of anybody going to a gym is between 7 and 10 months. That's pretty solid, not bad, but they usually put you in 6-month contracts. They'll get a few months extra out of you. Now, the amount of time that they actually spend in the gym, who knows? But you know what, if they lose 50, 60 pounds with me, they're going to stay. It's just because it's worked. I've developed a relationship with them. They don't want to open up to anybody else. And there's between oil change companies, salons, and gyms, they're the most loyal consumer base in the country. So, and that comes from relationships. People don't price shop gyms, especially when you're in the boutique gyms. They don't go to F45, Orange Theory, RockBox Fitness, Barry's Boot Camp, Row House. There's a million of them. And then they go back home and they go, which one did I like more? No, they're going to go, I really felt like Seaton could get me where I wanted to go. I really felt like I could, go be around, Seaton or, any of my staff. That people, my entire life, my family and everybody around me has taught me to do business through relationships. That is how, my dad said, if you don't know their aunt's dog's name, you're behind. So It's stressful because you do watch people leave that you've helped, lose 50 pounds. I had a massive mental breakdown with that early in my career because I would invest so much of my time into people's lives. Like I said, I would meet them here at 5 a.m. I'd get here at 8 p.m. at night if they wanted an extra workout. I get the walks with them. I do this, I do that. I'd help them lose the weight, and then they go, peace. And I just went, and it was one of those things I just could not get myself to understand why we've gotten to this point and they're going to either give up or walk away from me. I took it very, very hard. I took it very, very personal. And I called the only guy I knew how to, call. His name's Craig Perso. He's big time guy. I mean, his body's an anatomy lesson. He's in front cover of multiple magazines. He owns the RockBox in Murfreesboro. Incredible person. He set me down and walked me through my mental once again. I'm not going to be the guy that think I know it all. I don't. I listen. I've got open ears. The 2 ears, 1 mouth type thing. He just, he helped me. I had to find the balance between running a business and investing in people's lives, and knowing that there's going to be people that simply don't want to do it. And it's hard for me to know that people have a mental block after I've spilled my heart out to them. This is what, this is what can change your life. This is the road you're going down. Not pull every card in the book. This is where you're headed. I'm saying this because I care about you and I want to do this with you. And at the end of the day, people literally look at you. I just want to sit on the couch. I applaud those people that don't lie to me too. And it's like, no, I just want to sit on the couch. All right, sounds good. And I had to move on because there's enough people out here that my team can influence, I can influence, and lives can be changed. I've learned multiple lessons in my life, business and personal, and relationships that I've hung on just a little too long in multiple facets because I just feel like we're going to have a breakthrough, or I feel like we're going to get to the other side of this. And sometimes I can't, and I have to live with that. But I promise you, I'm going down swinging. I'm going down swinging.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And I know that we're at a spot where we're coming up on time here, because I know you got a class here coming up soon. But I wanted to ask you about something specifically that's kind of off course of where we've been so far. I noticed a Bible verse in multiple spots on your accounts, Galatians 2:20. I've been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I live now in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. Now, when we're talking about Apostle Paul talking about living by faith in Christ, right? How does that verse guide your decision-making as a business owner, as someone who's walking with the Lord, as someone who's a leader in the community? How does that influence your decision-making in your business, in your life, in these relationships that you're pouring into?
Incredible question. I think I love the saying "audience of one." I think that is where I'm at. I don't know who did it. Carson Wentz, I think. I have this, and I know we don't dive into religion too much, but I have this battle of knowing what is sin. I love that question. Dive into the logic of what sin is. And, how does that affect your decision making? There's people can cuss all day long and people think that's a sin. Where does it say it in the Bible? Where is it? A lot of things are so man-made. And especially we deal with a lot of those different things in the Bible Belt. But I have an audience of one. I know that Christ lives within me and through me and guides me. And I think, it goes back to those decisions of guilt. I think, knowing if you have a guilty conscience, and I'll go and there's a lot to, unravel here, and I'll try to, be basic, but a lot of it is a product of your raising. I think there's a lot, that is for a lot of people, that is who you are. And I think it's very key to get out of those, to try to dive into multiple fields of logic and multiple fields of reasoning and learn through it. And I always come back. I've argued it. I was the last person in my family to be saved. I was that guy that needed the proof, right? Needed something. And after a lot of soul searching for multiple years, I just know that the guilty conscience trumps, so much. How does it make you feel after you made that decision? Can you live with this? And has it hurt me as a business owner? Maybe so. And or those relationships, maybe so, because I have an issue with, kind of drawing lines, and I have been too soft in my past. And I've learned. I've learned a lot. I've learned when to nip things in the bud. I know, because I am that confident. I'm not scared of the conversation. I'm not scared to walk in and fire somebody. I'm not scared if you're not holding up my moral standard, the gym's moral standard, and not just me, what my team has worked for. This is like all of our trainers and all of our staff work so hard for. I'm not going to let one person set us backwards. And so I've got to have that moral compass of knowing that I answer to one person. If I can put my head down at night and know that I made the best decision for me, my family, my business, the people around me, I know I can live with that. So it goes back to, I answer to one person. I know, that's very hard because, Jesus is not just going to come out of the sky and go, hey, that was the wrong, so it is very figurative, I know. But to me, it comes from it comes from inner guilt. It really does. And I think that is what makes people good people. I think when you go numb to firing people, my brother's in entrepreneurship too, and he's incredible. I'll never forget when I fired my first person. It hurt me. I was like, man, I don't know if and he looked at me and he said, see, that means you care. Don't ever go numb to firing a person. Don't go numb to feeling. Like the day you go numb to that stuff is the day I get outside of who I am. And so feeling is healthy. It really is. I wouldn't and the crazy thing is, man, I'm not that emotional of a guy. You can tell. I mean, all my employees, they think I'm just an asshole. So it's just it's so odd. But I promise you, if you put yourself in everybody else's shoes and you can try to, obviously you're not going to know everything they're thinking or feeling. Put yourself in other people's shoes, meet them where they're at. This is also cliche, I know, but it really is that simple. It costs nothing to love somebody. It costs nothing to lend a hand. It costs nothing to go above and beyond to help somebody. It really does. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm volunteering at every charity. I'm not sitting here. I mean, I play golf multiple days a week. I enjoy myself. I'm not like a good Samaritan, but I do know when it comes to, the question is this, my decision-making skills come from, obviously experience trumps all. It's very unfortunate, and that's the whole, college pitch and stuff like that. But yes, I'd rather have a trainer that's been training for 8 years and been in boutique fitness ever before I would invest in a 22-year-old guy that's just starting up or a girl. It just is what it is. My life's too. I know where I win and I know when I lose. I try to give myself a word every single year, or something to go by every single year. And last year's word was win where you can. If I know I can influence this with this decision making, I'm going to take this. I'm not going to. Do I want to dump X amount of my time into an amazing employee that could make me a lot of money one day? Yes. But guess what? If I hire the experienced person that comes in and does a job and I don't ever have to worry about them. So my focus can be on somebody that's dealing with real world problems that has, things that they've got to overcome in their life. That's where I've got to just lay down my priorities. How can I, influence the most people into becoming healthier and go that route, and know that this is the process. Don't fall in love with the money. The money's going to, it's going to come, it's going to go. It's one of those things is if you value the money, you're not valuing what you do. So I just know that I always look at the bigger picture and stay present, stay around people. Think of the bigger picture every step of the way, because there's not a better feeling when somebody comes back to you and goes, and it's not just me. I'm saying this for my team and this community and in this culture is, they look at me and they go, you changed my life. That means so much to me because you only get one life. And I'm not saying, and yes, I'm still trying to find my purpose, but if I can change something and I can influence some people's lives along the way of my journey, I think it's beyond worth it. And I think everybody needs to strive to do the same. How can I impact somebody else's life today? Somehow, some way. It can be a small act of kindness, all that stuff that, we talk about. It can be anything. It really can be anything. So, and what people don't understand is you have time. You have time. People don't understand how much time they have. So if somebody asks for, an energy drink or something like that, it takes me what, 4 minutes to go to the gas station and bring them back something, and that might have made their day. There's so much time in your day that you can do everything you want to do. I know it doesn't feel like it, but become more disciplined, become more structured, and if you prioritize it and it's important to you, you'll do it. You'll do it 110%.
Well, all right. From the man himself, anything you want to leave anyone with? I know you got a jet. Anything you want to leave anyone with, and then let's get your socials, and we'll link those below so that people can find you. Anyone that's not already in your community that's listening to this, be able to follow you, follow along, and see what's going on. Last thing you want to leave people with?
I'm good. I'm good. I feel like I know I catch myself when I get into these talks, and I get a little scatterbrained, so I apologize. But I feel like I've got an overload of content that I mesh together and make sense to me. So hopefully it made a little sense to everybody listening.
Right on. Where can the people find you?
My Instagram stats95 STATS. That comes from Steve, Terry, and the children, and the Sheldons. Steve, Terry, and the Sheldons. It's our family thing. Stats95, and then SSheld95 on Twitter. Facebook's just Seaton Sheldon. I do try to keep up to date with everything. If you just want to pick my brain, anything, I'll open up an hour of my day whenever to talk to whoever about anything free. So just holler at me. Be awesome. I appreciate you having me on.
Right on. Absolutely. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to end the recording there. But hold on just 1 second. Appreciate everyone listening. Thank you for your most valuable asset, your attention, and we'll catch you next time.